Ace doing his Behind the Player DVD, and that was a few years back. I'm the bassist in the Cult, so I was out with the Cult, you know, and I met Ace a few years ago on the DVD shoot, and we hit it off really well, and when he started recording the new record, he asked me in on a couple tracks, which is really cool, and the Cult happened to be off the road, and it fit into my schedule, and that was awesome, super experience. I did Starship and What Every Girl Wants on that album.
Cool, okay.
And then Ace asked me to be in his touring band, which is awesome because the Cult is off now, working on some new music, you know, demoing, getting things together for next year for a new album. So just fantastic timing because I can come in and do all this work with Ace now.
Cool, cool. You probably get asked a lot of, what's it like to play with Ace? What's it like, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Well, of course. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, that's cool. I kind of wanted to approach this. I mean, obviously, I can't completely not ask that question, but I kind of want to get a little more info about your process of working with him and how your experience is on the road and such with him and playing.
Yeah, well, you know, the good thing is with Ace and I, the click was instant. When I met him in the DVD shoot when we were getting ready to do his DVD, I mean, I was there all day with him and we hit it off, so there was a natural click. And Ace is a real style musician, you know. I mean, he comes from a place of being a musician and, you know, loves playing, and so do I. And I think all that stuff speaks for itself. When we get on stage, we have a lot of fun. And, you know, we take it seriously, but we have a good time. And I like that balance Ace has. You know, we worked hard to get ready for the tour, and we practiced a lot, but there's so much material, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things with Ace is that, of course, you have the Kiss material and the Ace material. So it's a big, big bunch of stuff. So it's all been smooth sailing, really. Probably the most difficult thing was choosing the songs because there's so many good ones.
Right.
You know?
Now, you play with a lot of bands that have a lot of history. I mean, I've listened to the Cult since I was 14, 15 years old. Obviously, I listened to Kiss since I was 6 or 7, you know, or I was young. But,
yeah,
right. I'm 42, and I know you're 45, I guess?
Yeah.
So,
same ballpark.
Right. So you kind of can identify with where I'm coming from. Basically, how is it for you to transition between all the different styles of music that you play with? Because, I mean, I know you've done some work with Ozzy. I know right now, obviously, you're doing the Ace stuff. You do the Cult. And, yeah, it's all rock, but it's pretty different, like, stylistically.
You know, it is really different, too. And the way I approach things is with the knowledge of, you know, the history of the bands and stuff. You know, a lot of young bass players ask me how I kind of manage all this stuff. But, you know, the good news for me is I've followed Ace my whole life. I'm a Kiss fan. You know, when I joined the Cult, I've heard them for years, too. And kind of went into more of an Englishy swing feel on the bass. Comes a lot from the drums, but it's a slightly different feel. And I think American hard rock music, the Cult's originally English, and there's a slightly different swing to it, and there's just nuances, really. It is all rock. Playing with Ace is probably one of the most musical experiences I've had, maybe aside from Owl. I do a bass solo every night, you know. I sing a lot. I sing lead on one song, but I sing throughout the whole night, lots of harmonies. And, you know, the Kiss bass lines, you know, Gene's are great. If you go back and really get into it, I mean, Gene never talked about music. He talked about everything else, it seems, but he's a great bass player. A lot of great stuff there. And same with Ace is a great bass player. He played bass on his own records as well. The tracks that I didn't play, he played. So, you know, there's a lot of great riffs, a lot of movement. It's not boring at all. You know, there's nothing tired about it. Every song's different. There's some odd meter things. It's very musical. And plus, I get to rip a bass solo. I mean, I haven't been asked to do that in a long time, unless it was my band, you know.
Right. Now, and your band is more, it almost seems like it's more experimental and kind of alternative rock influenced.
I would say we'd fall into that category a bit more in the experimental, but, you know, if you listen to the stuff, it's straight up songs with verses and choruses and lyrics. So we kind of have a nice blend of the two, I think. A non-musician that's not even thinking about the stuff musicians might think about would enjoy it, and a musician type would too, because there's lots of sneaky bits that people don't even realize are the bass until they see it live and so on, you know. So there's a little bit of magic in Owl that a lot of bands don't have, because there's a lot of interesting musical mystique.
Right. Yeah, it's like you come from a background that kind of fuses everything.
Yeah, and the cool thing is really, you know, say the Cult, Ace Frehley, different kind of gig, you know, different kind of style, but what's nice is, you know, I'm always sort of invited in, and I add, once I really, you know, understand what's needed in the songs and what the artist wants, my style kind of comes through all the time anyway, you know, the way I play and the way I approach things. So, it's been a nice blend, and I've been very fortunate to be invited into so many cool situations. You know, when I was with Ozzy, I knew the Bob Baisley and Geezer Butler world of bass very well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So how hard was it for me my whole life paying attention to the bass players that he's had to jump in and do Ozzy? It wasn't hard at all. It was just a total treat, you know. And same with Ace. It's hard work. You have to honor the gig. You have to do your work. But, you know, once you do that stuff, you can really enjoy yourself. Right.
What sort of, let's talk about the process of the songs that you recorded on the album. It's a great album. I love the songs.
Renee gave you the EPK, so you heard the new stuff.
The Space Invader stuff?
I'm sorry?
Are you talking about Space Invader?
Okay, see, I wasn't sure. Yeah, you're talking about the Space Invader, the new stuff. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Shoot away. I wasn't sure which you're talking about, Owl or Cult. I wasn't sure.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. I was talking about the Ace stuff. The Ace stuff, you recorded a couple of tracks. You were saying you recorded a couple of the tracks on there. How did that process go down? I mean, did he bring you in and go, hey, this is what I want? Or, you know, because like you said, he's an accomplished bass player as well. Or did he kind of bring you in and go, hey, show me what you got, show me how you would approach this song?
Well, Ace had like the basic structure of, say, like I'll start with Starship. And you might notice on Starship, you know, the bass is kind of pretty prominent. It's more in the higher octave above where a lot of bass is played. So it's kind of got a McCartney, Rain kind of melodic bass thing. And I think he might have had the general idea, but I kind of spiced it up. And then he's really free and open and cool, and I came up with the descending line bit, and he said, that's great, do that. So once again, with Ace and I, it's been very natural, very flowing. You know, we're kind of on the same page, and it just flies out of us. So it's been really cool in that regard. And the other one, What Every Girl Wants, is the other one I did. And to me, it was obvious that it didn't need too much more than just really rocking solid bass. Dressed it up a little, but not, you know, that one just got a great tone and stuff. But what we did was, it was the three of us. Matt Starr recorded the record, although we're out with Scott Coogan now. But Matt Starr was the drummer that recorded the record, and all three of us just sat in the room for a few days. And there's actually a couple tracks I recorded with Ace that isn't on this record that, actually I asked him the other day if he was going to do anything with the other songs, and he said they'll probably go on the next record.
Oh, wow.
And he was also mentioning maybe getting me in for some stuff for the next record and all this. So that's really cool. There could be a future there with Ace, even though I'm in the Cult, you know?
Right.
Because of the time. And the new Owl stuff, I just summed it all up right before Ace. So I've literally been going from called owl, Ace, called owl, Ace, stuff like that, and I'm comfortable with it because I'm really in deep with the material. So it's just I feel very fortunate to have my own band, and the new album's going to be called Things You Can't See from Owl. It's coming out next year, early quarter, first quarter. And we got a video, and Owl is a place where I can really take the bass over the top.
Right.
And, play upright bass, and I affect it, with the bow and all this kind of thing. And, I'm the lead singer and primary songwriter, so it's my baby, yes, but it's a real band, too, because we have Dan and Jason, been in the band for 7 and 8 years now, and this is our third release, so, all of it, it could be a little overwhelming if I think too much, but I just got to get on to the next thing, like this interview and sound check and dinner and, meeting a guest and on to the show. So, the best thing to do is just dive in the deep end and get going.
Right. How much time do you devote to Owl? It's kind of a daily thing because I do a lot of social media, like Facebook, and so it's part of my life. It's like Owl is like literally a member of my family that I keep in touch with every day, even if I'm on the road with the Cult or Ace or something else. Even it's something that's a constant because I communicate with the fans. I try and communicate with the fans. Sometimes the Facebook messages get a little full and it's hard to keep up with it all, but I try and actually communicate with everyone, and I post a lot myself. I don't have someone I'm hiring or anything like that, so it is part of my daily life, and it's my real ultimate musical artistic expression, being a singer-songwriter with the bass, and being with my childhood buddy Dan from New York. It's a real genuine article, and people get very excited about it. So this third release, I feel lucky to have one. Do you write daily for it? I mean, I know a lot of people go on the road and they kind of will track demos and stuff while they're on the road. Do you do that sort of thing? Do you record them? Do you find yourself tooling around and going, oh man, I need to record this on my iPhone and have it for later?
Yeah, I might do that, like riffs, real quick stuff. I mean, I'll do a little bit in GarageBand or something, but the road's all consuming. I mean,
right.
For example, like I'm doing interviews. We were just in another town last night in Connecticut, and here we are in New Jersey, and there's not a whole lot of downtime. If you can I try and do some yoga and do some things for myself, but, I mean, if you wanted to turn songwriting and setting up the hotel like a little studio, I mean, I don't know, it's in depth, and some guys do that, but I kind of go on the fly quick, and if I have a riff, I'll just record it on the iPhone just from the amp at sound check or something. By the time I get to the hotel room, I either want to sleep or take a shower and go to a nice dinner. Like, sometimes by the time you finally have some peace, I'm not setting up the studio in the hotel room. I want to work quick, so I'm always creating. That's basically the answer. I just don't get too technical until I'm in the studio doing the real thing.
Right. Now, you're living in L.A. now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, like, I'm trying to think of how... Give me a little, I guess... When you're off the road, what do you do? Or are you ever, or do you feel like you're ever off the road?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's times where I'm off. That time's usually allocated for Owl, because then that's our opportunity to get to work on that. So, I'll take a couple days and kind of recover from the road and all the craziness, and take a few days to recharge and kind of just set up the next stuff. So it has been a constant ever since Owl started, through everything.
Okay. Give me a little bit of a teaser what people can expect from the Ace show.
Well, it's very high energy. I think that, some of the material, even though, it's been played before and Ace has had some great bands, I think really this is a fireball kind of band, a very high energy. Richie Scarlett's on guitar, and he's a high energy performer. Same with Scott Coogan on the drums, amazing drummer, great singer. Same with Richie. Everyone has like features in the show, and you don't want to go up there and try and be hits. It's the Ace band, but each guy in this band has super strong personalities and presence on stage and voices, which is cool, because the lead singer role goes around the room a little bit. It makes it interesting for the fans. And like I said, I get a bass solo every night, and I'm trying to think of a band that I've even seen over the last 10 years that I've seen a bass solo. Like, you just don't see them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nah, you don't really.
Yeah, that's really exciting for me, and I'm a soloist. I've got all kinds of crazy stuff I do on the bass that really I don't know where to let it out except for Owl. You know what I mean? So it's really very gracious of Ace to give his bandmates such spotlight,
Is he playing anything off the beaten path?
It's a really nice blend of all the stuff. It's a nice blend of his whole career, I think.
Okay.
And we're doing a few of the new ones, of course, too.
Right.
But it's a nice blend of, early Kiss from his first solo record all the way up to this record.
Okay.
Good blend of all the music, yeah.
Interesting, okay. I didn't know that Richie Scarlett was playing guitar on this tour.
Yeah, I guess 18 years it's been. But he's back, yeah.
Wow. Cool. Yeah, because the last time I saw them, it was for, what was the, oh my gosh, I've got the record in my car. His last solo record.
Anomaly.
Yeah, thank you, yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who was playing guitar for him then? Do you even know?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. I just couldn't remember. I know it wasn't him.
I think it was like, I have no idea.
Okay. Tell us a little, I do want to hear a little more about Owl. Give me some, if somebody was not familiar with Owl, how would you encourage them to look at the band, to check out the band, to go give it a chance?
Well, I do think we have a unique sound, and the new record that's done is going to be out, like I said, early next year. It's become something that we didn't even expect. I know I have sort of a unique approach to my songwriting, and I think I have strong melodic content and cool lyrics and all that. But the one thing about Owl is I think it takes you on a journey, and I use kind of a phrase called theater of the mind. It evokes a lot of emotion, and it comes from a lot of them. All the tunes come from an emotional place. So I think the music really helps people transcend into like another place, like they just went on a trip to see a little movie, or something like that. I'm really into that. Like, for example, one of the songs called "Which Is Familiar," and it's got everything from banshee screaming and riffs and like over the top explosiveness to really beautiful bits. And it all strings together without sounding like a discombobulated kind of song. That's the one thing with Owl. I think back in the second record, people really latched onto it. But it seemed like they took them a little while because I had to kind of hear the whole record or something. They go, oh, I see. They're like a Floyd or a Zeppelin. There's no rules. They just have a certain sound unto themselves. And, I think that's my goal in life, is like to really take you somewhere. And I think each song will take you on a journey and an emotional ride and also a musical ride, because there's stuff I don't really hear many people doing, and some of the things I do on the bass, I don't even know if anyone's doing at all. So it's like it's a whole other new expression, and I think in this, homogenized, commercialized, run-of-the-mill, put some pretty face up and make him a millionaire superstar for no good reason. And you can imagine who I'm referring to. There's a handful of them out there right now. I'm offering something that's got complete substance and pushing the envelope of music. And half the people that see me, I can tell in the States, are so, detached from music education and having an education at all that they actually ask me if I'm playing the cello.
Right.
And I'm thinking, my God, man, there's only 4 strings in the string family. And I often will be asked, what is that instrument? Is that a cello? And I say to myself, man, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd be a millionaire. People don't even know what the instrument is. So in this really stark, ridiculous world of cheese that we're in right now, everything from Bieber to Taylor Swift to you name it, there's a bunch of crap up at the top right now.
Right.
I mean, we got John Mayer as one of our powerhouse guitar players that shows up as a musical guest at these music awards. I'm like, what the fuck happened? We had Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen. Now we got this fucking guy? I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Be good about bringing something to the forefront that, first of all, people don't even seem to understand what it is anymore. Not only am I bringing it to the forefront, I'm kicking it in the ass and being a groundbreaker with it.
Right.
Right. So they don't even know what it is, and I'm already on in a whole other ballpark trying to push the envelope with the instrument. I'm happy to bring it back to the forefront. And if it gets any worse, this is going to be the fall of Rome. So I'm very happy to bring real, ballsy, gutsy, daring music to the forefront.
Right.
I don't even know who you'd compare us to be honest with you, except for the older bands that did that.
Okay, right. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about, believe me. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I like a lot of pop-oriented rock. Now, when I say pop-oriented rock, I'm not talking Bieber and I'm not talking John Mayer, okay? I'm talking about, like, good pop-written rock bands, if you get what I'm saying. Verse, chorus, bridge.
That's like more songcraft, right? I mean,
exactly. Right. The hook, you got the hook, the pop, the rock, where it's a verse, chorus kind of structure thing. But I also appreciate a lot of stuff like, Fugazi, where it's, I don't even know, do you know who Fugazi is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured you would. But I like a lot of the experimental stuff like that as well. I'm definitely not adverse to that at all.
Yeah, well, I was with a huge pop artist, he broke huge, Al Bachman. That's actually how I met Bob Rock, and that was like, I don't know, late 90s. And that guy was a great pop writer. Remember that song, She's So High?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I was in that band, recorded that record, so it's not like I'm just one kind of player. I also play classical and jazz.
All right.
My favorite stuff is hard rock music, but like Cal Bachman's a great example. Go back and check out Cal Bachman's record. Well-crafted, great pop songs, delivered well, classic almost,
Right. Is there anything else you want to share? I mean, about you? I want to give you the opportunity to talk about you a little bit, or share a message or whatever you'd want to put out there.
Well, I am really excited about the new Owl stuff, I've got to say. I had the night off the other night, and I listened to it for the first time in a week or two since I've been so busy, and kind of just revisited. And I produced it, wrote most of it, and the guys in the band are very involved. But it's my baby, so I'm very excited about that. And I know we broke some ground, and we've come more and more into our own sound. So you've heard the first record and the second record. First one was called Owl, debut record was just self-titled, and that did great. And I introduced the band at that point, with some songs I had in the can for a long time. Then the second record came, and I still had lots of songs, which were pretty much written, but we kind of wrote a little bit more together on that one. And this one, we just trusted. Dan was really pushing for this, and Dan owns a media company in upstate New York where we did the recording of this new record, Things You Can't See. And it's an old Roman Catholic church that's converted into his media company and recording studio. It's just spectacular. It's called Over It Media.
Right.
And he just, it was the holidays. I came back home from tour with the Cult, and had a busy year, and I went back to New York to visit my mom and dad and brothers from visiting from LA, and Dan was like, hey, you know, we should do another record. You're off. Here's the studio. And I started going into the studio every day. We booked the time. And I started demoing up some of my favorite riffs and things I had at the time. And I had some song ideas, but what was interesting about this one, I wrote the whole thing in the studio just trusting it was going to be good. Because you could have came to the end and been like, I don't know, I don't think it's that good. You just don't know. But this came out beyond our expectations, you know. And I have a whole song done and still not know what to do on the chorus. I had 3 different choruses for one song. And, you know, it worked at it until I felt like, when I'm impressed and I'm like, holy shit, this is great, I know it's good. You know, I don't second guess myself. So this particular one went beyond what we expected. It's more crushing, it's more melodic, it's more musical, it's more radio worthy. It's somehow everything all in one. And it's got the owl stamp and confidence on it, like we've never had, because we worked so hard to get to this point. So we're very grateful, and just, you know, whatever happens now is just gravy. I know people are going to dig this when it comes out. And last year we're surprised. I mean, Rolling Stone magazine and Revolver and everyone started writing about us. Kind of like we're a bit of an underdog, and I like that.
Cool.
So that's what I'm really looking for, is unveiling this music. It's heavy, it's emotional, it's gonna take you out of your head for sure, or maybe put you back into your head. But it's very interesting stuff. It's definitely gonna entertain people.
Okay. One last question. If you could pick, and this is somebody like today, like that is living. Because if we were to go all the way back in history, you could probably never pick anybody. If you could pick one band or musician to tour or do session work with that you haven't, who would it be? Who comes to mind right away?
I think Dave Grohl, because he's really a great drummer, and bass players have a... you know, obviously bass and drummers have a strong bond, but there's the rhythm section, you know. And I always thought, I mean, the Foo Fighters are cool to me, but Dave Grohl on the drums is really cool. It takes the cake for me. So if I were to have, like, if I were to put something together, I would get, like, Jack White, Dave Grohl, and myself and go, check this shit out, motherfuckers.
That was very, very quick. That was a very, very quick answer. That I'm impressed. Most people...
Yeah, it's the truth. It's just what popped up in my head right away. I'm like, if there's one guy that I haven't got my hands on yet in my career, it'd be Dave Grohl.
Interesting. Yeah, I love the Foo Fighters, so, I mean, yeah. I can definitely understand where you're coming from. But, yeah, I'm not talking
Foo Fighters. I'm talking him on drums and singing.
Oh.
To me, he's one of the best drummers out there, so when I see him with the guitar, I'm less excited.
Right. Do you like the Queens of Stone Age stuff? What's his thing?
I do. I think they're one of the best ones out there. Josh has been consistently strong artistically, and, you know, there's no cheese coming out of that camp.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely not. All right.
Yeah, I'd say Queens of the Stone Age probably one of the most consistent, best bands of material that's come out. I mean, if you think about it, there isn't a stinker in there.
Right.
Every record they put out is pretty great. So,
all right.
I'd say Queens of the Stone Age are kind of, you know, Josh obviously is that band, basically his band. You know, I mean, he's killer.
Right.
He's great, and he's artistically, yeah, I would relate to him too. You know.